I got another question about the Tone Master Pro and the instrument split signal path. Dave Moody asked this. Hey, thanks for your great videos on the Tone Master Pro. I'm new with the unit. I can't seem to get the left-right working in the instrument split signal path. I panned the splitter left and right, but the signals are still both passing to each side of the phone's outputs and USB outputs too. Seems like they should be isolated. Amp on top panned left, amp on bottom panned right, and not be combined per the graphic. Is this a bug or am I missing something? Thanks. Well, the first thing we should do is open up the Pro Control app and see how the instrument split signal path works. We'll start with an empty preset. Click on Preset Settings, then click on Signal Path Type. The Signal Path Type panel opens up and it defaults to Instrument Series. Go down to the end of the list and double-click on Instrument Split. Then click the back arrow to go to the preset. The signal path starts out with the instrument input, then goes to a splitter box with a top path and a bottom path. If we look at the splitter box, we can see that it has level and pan controls. So why doesn't it do what Dave would like it to do? Well, there's no bug at work here. It's because that splitter box is for the input, not the output. If you send a stereo signal on this part of the path, for instance, we go to Effects, go to Modulation, and click the Orbit Stereo Panner. If you send the signal from the Orbit Stereo Panner into that splitter box, you can pan the signal so that the left part goes to the top path and the right part goes to the bottom path. I mean, all you would do is say pan A to the left, pan B to the right, or vice versa. You can pan A to the right and pan B to the left. But you don't have the ability to pan the output. Let's see what happens in this situation. I put together a very simple preset that uses the British 800 half stack and the stereo tape echo. I have the left and right times set differently, so we should get a stereo signal, right? I mean, I panned the splitter hard left and right. I'll show you. See, pan A all the way to the left, pan B all the way to the right. Well, let's see what happens. Okay, there is no stereo signal there at all. That's mono. But let me move the tape echo to the top path, or I could move it to the bottom path, and now it sounds like this. Again, before the splitter. And now after the splitter. If you're listening with a stereo playback system, you should have noticed that when the stereo tape echo was before the splitter, the stereo signal collapsed to mono. Why? Well, the splitter sent the left signal to the top path, which is routed to headphones, output 1, and output 2. Since it's a mono signal at that point, the signal went to both left and right sides. Same thing happens with the lower path, headphones, output 1, and output 2. But when I move the stereo tape echo to either the top or bottom path, the stereo signal does not collapse into mono. A path can handle both mono and stereo signals. So when the stereo tape echo is moved to one path, the stereo imaging stays true. So by now you should see that the instrument split signal path is not going to work the way that Dave would like it to work. I've suggested that Fender adds the splitter box as a utility block that we could use in our presets, but it's not there yet. So what can be done in the meantime? Open up another new preset, click on Preset Settings, then click on Signal Path Type. Double-click on Instrument Parallel 1, and then click the back arrow. Now when we look at this signal path, we can see that there are splitter boxes both for input and for output. If you send a stereo signal into the first splitter box, you can pan that signal so the left part goes to the top path and the right part goes to the bottom path, or vice versa if you prefer. The top and bottom paths merge at the second splitter box, which I'm calling the output splitter box. Again, you can pan that signal so the top path goes to the left output and the bottom path goes to the right output, or vice versa if you prefer. I put together another simple preset to show you how this signal path can have the top path pan to the left and the bottom path pan to the right. First we have the royal tone, in case we want to add some dirt. Then we have the orbit panner, which is using the square wave setting. The first splitter is panned hard left and hard right. On the top path we have the 65 Deluxe Reverb Blonde amp only and the large plate reverb. On the bottom path we have the UK30 Brilliant and the digital delay mono. The second splitter is also panned hard left and hard right. The deluxe reverb will be on the left side and the UK30 will be on the right. I've also set up foot switches for all the effects. Now I'll demo this preset to show you how it sounds, but again, you need to be listening through a stereo setup to get the full effect. So this is what it sounds like with just the amps and none of the effects on. Now if we turn the volume down on the deluxe reverb, all you have is the UK30. If we turn the volume down on the UK30, all we have is the deluxe reverb. And again, here they are together. Now let me turn on the large plate reverb, and this is what it sounds like. Now I'll turn on the digital delay. Now I'll turn on the orbit pan. Now let's turn off the orbit pan and turn on the royal tone. Well, there's your answer. Use the instrument parallel 1 signal path if you want to pan like maybe your top path to the left and your bottom path to the right. You can even put more effects after the second splitter. As long as they're stereo, it only takes one mono effect to make the stereo image collapse, so be careful. And let me know if you're using the instrument parallel 1 signal path and how it's working out for you. And if you're still here, thank you so much for stopping by and sticking around. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, drop me a line here and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Now next Wednesday, we'll be having all new content on the Tone Master Pro. You don't want to miss that. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. All right, guys, have a fantastic weekend. Try to stay cool, and I'll be talking with you again next week.